Cold War might be over, President Clinton might be cutting defense spending, but secret American spy projects are still going on. One is so secret and so fast that officially it doesn't even exist.
Above the clouds, at the edge of Earth's atmosphere, machines scream through the sky at speeds no human eye can track. Ghosts in the stratosphere.
You could see the windows on it, where the cockpit obviously was, and jet outlets coming out of the back of it, but going very, very fast indeed.
Had you ever seen anything like it?
Never anything like it before.
Built in secrecy, tested in silence, these aircraft have seen what governments deny and enemies fear. This isn't just about speed, it's about surveillance, subterfuge, and power. These are the 20 fastest spy planes in history, and the hidden truths they were built to uncover. Blackbird's Phantom Echo, the SR-71. It could outrun missiles, literally. The SR-71 Blackbird, a sleek arrow of black titanium, flew at Mach 3.2 and cruised above 85,000 feet, leaving only vapor trails and unanswered questions in its wake. Developed by Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works, it was born in Cold War paranoia and secrecy. Its surface was so hot during flight, it could burn bare skin. Yet its cameras could read license plates from 80,000 feet. Every mission, a high-stakes chess move. Declassified files reveal surveillance over North Vietnam, North Korea, and even Soviet naval facilities in the Arctic. But there were also test flights that left no official record. Engineers whispered of blackbirds that hit Mach 3.5 plus, tested briefly, then locked away. And then there are the strange satellite images, blurs on desert runways that don't match any known model. Was the SR-71 the pinnacle of its lineage, or merely the prototype for something even faster, more secret, more invisible? What flew after the Blackbird, and who was watching? Aurora, the plane that shouldn't exist. In the early 1990s, seismic stations in Southern California registered unexplained skyquakes, deep, thunderous booms shaking the desert floor. No aircraft had filed flight plans. No explosions were reported. The sound moved faster than any known aircraft. This phenomenon ignited the legend of Aurora, an alleged top-secret hypersonic reconnaissance plane.
Outlets coming out of the back of it, but going very, very fast indeed.
Had you ever seen anything like it?
Never anything like it before.
Budget documents leaked from the Pentagon listed vague references to black aircraft, matching its rumored profile.
But secret American spy projects are still going on. One is so secret and so fast that officially it doesn't even exist.
Eyewitnesses reported contrails forming concentric rings, hallmarks of pulsed detonation engines. The plane, they say, could fly at Mach 5 plus, using technology never acknowledged in the open. Built and tested at Groom Lake, Area 51, it was allegedly capable of crossing continents in under an hour. Yet no official confirmation has ever surfaced. Was Aurora real, or an elaborate disinformation campaign? Could it be flying right now, above commercial airliners, unseen by radar, photographing entire countries in a single pass? If the SR-71 retired in 1998, what filled the vacuum it left behind? MiG-25, Foxbat, Soviet Steel Fury. The Soviet Union wasn't just building aircraft, it was building rockets with wings. The MiG-25 Foxbat was their response to American high-speed threats, a menacing interceptor that could shatter Mach 3.2 in pursuit. Constructed almost entirely from stainless steel, it was fast, so fast that it could melt its own engines if flown at top speed too long. It was terrifying in its simplicity. When pilot Viktor Belenko defected to Japan in 1976 and handed the West its first close-up look, analysts were baffled. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't subtle, but it was brutally effective. This machine wasn't meant to dogfight. It was designed to chase down the SR-71, shoot missiles at it, and hope for a kill before its own systems collapsed. And yet, Soviet records hint at MiG variants never publicly revealed, airframes modified for reconnaissance and performance beyond Mach 3.5. If the Foxbat was the brute enforcer of Soviet skies, what ghostly successor followed in silence? A 12 Oxcart, the forgotten blackbird. Before the SR-71 stole headlines, the A-12 Oxcart lurked above Southeast Asia, flying reconnaissance missions so secret even Congress didn't know. Developed in the 1960s by Lockheed for the CIA, the A-12 was faster, lighter, and arguably more elegant than its better-known successor. It flew at over 90,000 feet and could hit Mach 3.3, snapping high-resolution images from cameras that filled its narrow fuselage. Yet few know its name. Missions over North Vietnam and even China were scrubbed from history. One aircraft was lost to a missile, its pilot presumed dead, though some believe he was captured and never released. Declassified memos show the A-12 performing feats previously thought impossible. Undetected entries into sovereign airspace, sharp evasive turns at hypersonic speeds. So why was it retired abruptly in 1968? Some say politics, others suggest it was too advanced, revealing capabilities the government wasn't ready to explain. Could it be parts of the A-12 program still exist? XB-70 Valkyrie, the bomber that became a spy. It was born to be a nuclear bomber. The North American XB-70 Valkyrie could cruise at Mach 3 and soar above 70,000 feet, far beyond the reach of enemy interceptors. But when ICBMs made long-range bombers obsolete, the Valkyrie was repurposed for surveillance, high-speed data gathering, and atmospheric experimentation. Its unique canard design and drooping wingtips gave it rare aerodynamic control at speeds that pushed materials science to its limits. Engineers began testing radar deflection techniques. Some insiders whispered it was becoming an early stealth platform, decades ahead of its time. Then came the crash, a mysterious mid-air collision during a test flight in 1966 destroyed one of only 2 prototypes. The cause? Officially, pilot error. But internal investigations suggest classified equipment on board may have malfunctioned or been targeted. Afterward, the project was cancelled. But pieces of the Valkyrie's technology reappear in later aircraft, like echoes of a ghost. Was the XB-70 just a testbed, or something more? Chengdu J-20, Dragon in the Shadows. The Chengdu J-20 entered global view in 2011, China's first 5th-generation stealth fighter. But reports suggest it's more than just a fighter. It's a spy plane in disguise. With an elongated fuselage and internal bays possibly carrying advanced reconnaissance pods, the J-20 has allegedly conducted surveillance flights near disputed territories. Leaked satellite imagery shows a variant equipped with unusual nose sensors and expanded electronic warfare systems. And then there are the engines. Originally powered by Russian tech, recent upgrades suggest experimental Chinese-built engines capable of pushing the J-20 near Mach 2.5, possibly higher with afterburner enhancements. Analysts have speculated on hybrid roles, a long-range stealth interceptor, doubling as a high-speed reconnaissance craft. If true, China has not just matched Western aerospace, they've innovated. But where did the design come from? The US has reported cyber breaches targeting Lockheed Martin. Is the J-20 a mirror, reflecting stolen secrets? And what might it be watching that we're not supposed to see? Keldysh bomber, the Soviet spaceplane that vanished. Imagine a plane that never stops flying. A spaceplane fueled by rockets skimming the edge of Earth's atmosphere at Mach 6. That was the Keldysh bomber. Conceived by the Soviet Union in the 1950s, it was a radical concept, a boost-glide aircraft launched by a rail system reaching near orbital altitude before gliding across continents. Declassified documents reveal plans to use it not just for nuclear delivery, but for ultra-fast surveillance. Soviet engineers believed it could fly from Moscow to New York in under 30 minutes. Though officially cancelled due to technical limitations, fragments of its research survived, later influencing the Buran shuttle and Russia's hypersonic glide vehicles. Some say test components were quietly completed and tested in the vast Kazakh steppe. Could this Cold War relic have achieved short flights? And if so, what did it see from the edge of space? It never entered the history books, but that doesn't mean it never entered the sky. Northrop YF-23, the silent speed demon. It was stealthier, faster, more futuristic. The Northrop YF-23, developed for the US Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter competition, lost to the F-22 Raptor in 1991. But many say it was the superior craft. With its diamond-shaped wings and tailless silhouette, the YF-23 could cruise at supersonic speeds without afterburners, possibly even breaching Mach 2.2 while remaining radar-absorbent. 2 prototypes were built. Both now sit in museums, or so we're told. Rumors persist that Northrop built a third, never displayed, never decommissioned. Leaked documents reference a silent interceptor used in classified Pacific missions. Its low heat signature and stealthy engine exhaust could allow it to spy over hostile territory without being detected. Could the YF-23 have been quietly absorbed into Black Ops? If so, what has it seen in the skies of Asia, the Middle East, or even above us right now? Some say you never truly lose a fighter that good. You just lose sight of it. SR-72, son of Blackbird, Mach 6 monster. Officially, it's in development. Unofficially, it may already be flying. The SR-72, nicknamed Son of Blackbird, is Lockheed Martin's next-gen hypersonic reconnaissance and strike aircraft. Designed to reach Mach 6, it would double the top speed of its legendary predecessor, the SR-71. That's over 4,000 miles per hour. Faster than a bullet, faster than most missiles. Hypersonic propulsion demands a new engine type, a turbine-based combined cycle, merging jet and scramjet tech. It sounds theoretical, but in 2017, satellite images showed a strange wedge-shaped aircraft on a desert runway. A year later, observers spotted an unknown hypersonic vehicle streaking across the Pacific. Lockheed claims the SR-72 won't fly until the 2030s. But if those test flights were real, we're already living in its age. What targets could it reach in minutes? What secrets could it extract before we even detect its presence? The SR-72 may not be science fiction. It may be surveillance fact, moving faster than truth itself. Tupolev Tu-144LL, Soviet speed repurposed. The Tu-144 was the USSR's answer to the Concorde, a supersonic passenger jet with a Mach 2 cruising speed. But after several high-profile failures, it was retired, or so the public believed. In the 1990s, NASA and Russian engineers brought one back. This time, it wasn't for passengers. Rebranded as the Tu-144LL for flying laboratory, it became a testbed for high-speed flight data. The results? Classified. Flight logs vanished. Russian scientists working on the project suddenly changed jobs, or vanished entirely. NASA said it was for civilian research, but aviation experts noted strange modifications. reinforced undercarriage, sensor bays, and composite materials never used in commercial airliners. Could the Tu-144LL have been converted into a high-speed surveillance platform? A Cold War relic turned eye in the sky? The program ended quietly, its final reports locked away. But the airframe still exists, sealed in a Russian hangar. And if it flew once under secrecy, who says it's not flying again? Hypersonic glide vehicles, eyes from orbit. They don't fly like planes. They fall like meteors, then steer. Hypersonic glide vehicles, or HGVS, are the bleeding edge of surveillance and strike technology. Launched atop rockets, they re-enter the atmosphere at Mach 20, then glide horizontally for thousands of miles. Too fast for interception, too high for ground-based radar. The US, China, and Russia have all tested them, but recent leaks suggest a new twist. Reconnaissance. One US prototype allegedly gathered imagery of a ground installation and relayed it to a satellite before vanishing into the upper atmosphere. China's DFZF and Russia's Avangard may have similar capabilities. These aren't just weapons, they're cameras wrapped in plasma. If they can cross hemispheres in minutes, they can photograph anything, anywhere, without warning. Traditional spy planes take hours to deploy. These vehicles need only minutes. The line between space and sky is blurring, and in that gray zone, the watchers have no faces, only fire. U-2, Dragon Lady, still watching. She's a Cold War relic that refuses to retire. The Lockheed U-2. Dragon Lady first flew in 1955, and yet she still flies today. Why? Because no satellite has fully replaced her. Flying at 70,000 feet, the U-2 can loiter for hours over enemy territory, capturing signals, images, and more with uncanny resolution. But she's changed. The latest versions carry advanced synthetic aperture radar, multispectral imaging, and live data links. She's a flying surveillance lab. In 2003, she flew over Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom. In 2022, she was spotted patrolling the Taiwan Strait. Even now, a new variant, the TR-1, is being adapted for electronic warfare. But the most curious upgrades are classified. What new tech has been grafted onto this aging legend? Some say it includes AI-assisted reconnaissance. Others suggest quantum sensors. If so, the U-2 may not just be watching. She may be listening to frequencies the human mind can't even perceive. Dassault Mirage 4, France's flying eye. In the nuclear haze of the Cold War, France launched its own Shadow Sentinel, the Dassault Mirage 4. A supersonic bomber and reconnaissance aircraft, it flew at Mach 2.2 and reached 65,000 feet, just beneath the realm where spy satellites roam. It was Europe's first long-range platform capable of autonomous surveillance without relying on US support. Publicly, it was a deterrent. Privately, it was an eye. Missions over the Sahara, where French atomic tests scorched the sand, were confirmed. But other sorties, across Central Africa and even into the Mediterranean during NATO operations, remain redacted. Declassified French memos suggest a dual role, mapping enemy installations and allies' defenses. And then there's the rumor of the Mirage EVN, a naval variant allegedly used to spy on American carrier groups. If true, what secrets did France collect while pretending neutrality? The Mirage 4 has been retired, but its legacy flies on, in satellites, in drones, and maybe in something faster we haven't seen yet. RQ-180, America's ghost drone. You won't find it in press releases, but if you look carefully at satellite photos of Groom Lake, you might notice an odd delta-winged shadow. That's the rumored RQ-180. a next-generation stealth surveillance drone with a wingspan rivaling a Boeing 737. Developed by Northrop Grumman, the RQ-180 is said to fly at high subsonic speeds above 60,000 feet. But the most important number is zero, as in zero radar signature. Some defense analysts call it the real B-21 and claim it's been operational since 2015. Unlike Predator or Reaper drones, the RQ-180 is built not for strikes, but for watching, quietly, persistently, invisibly. Unconfirmed sightings have placed it over Syria, the South China Sea, and even above domestic airspace. What is it seeing? And more importantly, what has it seen that we'll never know about? Its mere existence shifts the paradigm. Because when something this stealthy is watching, how can we even be sure it's there? Boeing X-51, Waverider, riding on plasma. The future doesn't have wings, it has plasma trails. The Boeing X-51 Waverider was an experimental aircraft powered by a scramjet engine designed to skim the atmosphere at Mach 5. In 2013, it completed a 370-second flight over the Pacific, reaching over 3,300 miles per hour before disintegrating by design. That was the public story. But what followed were classified briefings, strange sightings, and a flurry of patents filed under obscure defense subsidiaries. Analysts believe the X-51 was a proof of concept for something darker. A surveillance platform that could cross oceans in under 45 minutes, capture full-spectrum data, and vanish before anyone could react. Plasma sheaths formed by its velocity render it nearly undetectable to radar. The Air Force called it a testbed, but others believe it was a prototype for a new reconnaissance species, the hypersonic drone. If the Waverider truly rode the edge of physics, what's riding on its wake today that we can't even name? Sukhoi T-4, the Soviet Concorde killer. It looked like a futuristic bird of prey, sleek, predatory, and fast. The Sukhoi T-4 was the USSR's answer to the American XB-70, designed to fly at Mach 3 and deliver either surveillance or destruction. Only one prototype ever flew, or so we're told. Internal Soviet documents refer to T-4MS, a modified variant with advanced cameras and an extended fuselage. Some say it flew reconnaissance missions over the Arctic, testing radar penetration into NATO airspace. Others believe it was simply too fast, too radical, and quietly dismantled. But then, why did so much of its design resurface decades later in Russian stealth bombers and experimental drones? One T-4 still sits in a Moscow museum, but parts of another are rumored to be in storage beneath Ramenskoye airfield. The project was abruptly cancelled, but never fully erased. Was the T-4 a one-time marvel, or a ghost aircraft that inspired a new generation of silent watchers? RQ-170, Sentinel, caught over Iran. It was supposed to be invisible. In 2011, Iran announced it had captured a fully intact RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone. The US initially denied it, until images surfaced showing the alien-like aircraft, pristine and unmistakable. How did Iran bring it down? Some claimed electronic warfare, others said GPS spoofing. Regardless, the consequences were enormous. The drone's capture gave America's rivals access to sensitive tech. Within years, Iran and China showcased drones bearing uncanny resemblance to the Sentinel's smooth contours and ventless designs. But the more disturbing question remains: what was it watching? Iranian nuclear sites, missile silos, command bunkers. The RQ-170 had flown over Osama bin Laden's compound just months earlier. Was it recording something the world wasn't meant to know? Or did its fall serve a different purpose? A warning, perhaps, that even the watchers can be caught. Its shape has become iconic, and its silence haunting. Astra Project, India's hypersonic leap. Officially, it's an air-to-air missile program. But buried in India's Astra Project are blueprints for something more ambitious, a hypersonic surveillance craft. Collaborating with the DRDO and ISRO, Indian scientists have been developing scramjet engines capable of sustaining Mach 6. The goal? A drone that can circle enemy territory at the edge of space, undetectable and uncatchable. Leaks from BrahMos Aerospace hint at prototype tests over the Bay of Bengal. In 2022, fishermen reported a silver dart streaking silently across the sky, followed by a sonic boom hours later. No agency took credit. Insiders whisper that Astra is a layered program, where the missile is merely the cover for a craft that can photograph hostile infrastructure with pinpoint precision, before any satellite can reposition. If India enters the hypersonic spy race, it shifts global balance. Because then, even superpowers must ask, what does India see from 300,000 feet? NASA's X-43, the quiet pioneer. It was a science project, or so they said. In 2004, NASA launched the X-43A, a scramjet-powered research aircraft that shattered records by flying at Mach 9.6, nearly 7,000 miles per hour. Just 10 seconds of powered flight. Just a test. But the implications were enormous. A vehicle that fast could cross the continental US in under 15 minutes. The military took notice. Funding quietly shifted from public agencies to classified sectors. Years later, strange craft were seen launching off carrier aircraft and disappearing into the upper atmosphere. Were they descendants of the X-43? No one will say. NASA's official line is that the program ended, but many believe it was absorbed into DARPA's Falcon project, or even into an unacknowledged division of Space Force, a machine that can fly 10 times faster than commercial jets, without pilots, nearly without detection, redefines what it means to surveil. If X-43 opened the door, what walked through behind it? We look up and see only blue. But far above, machines cross continents in minutes, gather secrets in silence, and vanish without a trace. The faster they fly, the harder they are to track. Some are remembered. Others were never officially born. But all were built for one purpose: to see without being seen. As borders blur and rivals rise, one question lingers. What flies above us today that no radar can find? The race never stopped. It only went dark.